The Roblox pathfinding service API is way too hard to use. 99% of people are going to use it for two things, either tracking to this green dot or tracking a moving target like a player. Unfortunately, there's no standard implementation of that, and you have to make it on your own, and that's why Forbidden was made. This is now Forbidden V2. There's around 20 videos on this channel explaining Forbidden V1. I will remake every single one with new information, such as how to do stairs or doors, which is a lot of the common problems people have. But if they're not made right now, you can go to the Discord server, and I will be in there and I can help you out. So anyway, for now, let's go ahead and let's add Forbidden. So to do so, you would go get Forbidden V2 unpackaged, and what that looks like is this. After you do that, and you insert it into the replicated storage, you're going to get an avatar, which you just go to Avatar, Rig Builder, or whatever your NPC is. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to make sure the following information is in the NPC to make sure that even your mesh will be compatible. You're going to make sure it has a humanoid. You're going to make sure that it has a head. That would be the best case. I believe I'll make Forbidden not have to worry about that, but I would really encourage you to add a head, even just weld it. And you're also going to make sure it has a humanoid root part, or at least some kind of primary part. Whatever, so if it's not called humanoid root, make sure it has a primary part, and Forbidden will figure it out. After you do that, you're going to establish your test environment. So for now, just make a green dot, call it target, place it in workspace, and go inside your rig. In the rig, place this. So I'll explain what this does. We're going to get the AI module. We're going to get our target and our NPC, and then we're going to get our config. So this is how you edit the config for Forbidden. If you were coding with just Roblox, you would only have access to this information. It's not enough. Forbidden lets you even customize stuff as if you were the one that coded Forbidden. So you can access when it reaches pathfinding links, when it's moving to individual waypoints, and such. If you need help connecting to certain events, let me know and I can help you out. But by default, whenever the pathfinding call finishes, if you set this to true, it will run after. So whether it reached the target or not, or it failed, if you set the third parameter to true, it will wait for it to finish. Here, if it's false, and by default it is false, it will run the code immediately after. So if I were to do print tracking the player here, because this is going to track the player, it will run the code right after. But once again, going back to explaining, we're setting different variables in our config that I'm calling config to restore defaults. This is just to demonstrate that you really should always call restore defaults, because if you change anything in the past, it will remember that. So calling restore defaults is usually best practice. You're going to see that the agent radius is not going to be 100 whenever I call this after doing restore defaults. So let me actually demonstrate that. And I'm setting visualize to true. I'm making the path color green. You can change it to whatever you want. Let's do that. I'm then inserting anti-lag. So anti-lag is basically network ownership. If you've ever seen parts explode and then stutter whenever they're getting near you, or you've ever seen the API stuttering, anti-lag prevents that. That's all this script does. And I would encourage you that you should always call this. Then we're going to wait 2 seconds and we're going to start pathfind to the target. And when the third parameter, we're yielding. We're waiting until that pathfind is done. After the pathfind is done, we're going to wait 1 more second and we're going to change the tracking to true now, because I want to track the player. The yields now is going to be false. Technically, you don't even need the parameter because by default it is false. And then we're going to track the player. We're going to wait 5 seconds and we're going to stop. If we go ahead and we run this code, it is now tracking around. Stops there. It's going to track me now. You can see the direct move to. It's more efficient. It can update more constantly. After 5 seconds, it has stopped. There are standard use cases pre-programmed for Forbidden. If you've used Forbidden in the past, you'll know about Chase AI. I'm going to recode it. But for now, TCP, or track closest player, is in the Discord, and you can join that in the description. You can just ask for it, we'll hand it to you, and all this is a script that will track the closest player live. So you can see it is tracking me right now. It will pathfind around the corner, and you can see it catches up. If it can ever see me, you'll see that it swaps to direct move to. You can customize the time that it waits to swap to direct move to. in the config, and it is the, I believe it's going to be the block direct move to timer for check 4. So if you ever notice that it is waiting too long to swap the direct move to, you can customize the setting. So if I were to go ahead and say down here, you could add restore defaults, but since this is the only pathfinding function, you don't really need to do that. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say config that direct move to dot check 4 dot block move to timer. We're going to change that to 1 second. You should notice that it is more responsive. So another thing you need to understand, I want you to look at the distance right here. Let me go ahead and do this. So you saw how far away it looked, and look at how far it looks now. It's not that far. That is the server, the client ping. It's modeled more intensely in Studio, but you need to remember that there is ping between the server and client, that this is always going to be running on the server. The one time that I would tell you not to use forbidden is if you need it to run on the client, because in that case, you see this lag that's occurring. This is what happens if you don't have the anti-lag. Basically, what happens is whenever it gets too close to the client, it tries to give the client ownership of this break. Now, to prevent that, we have get network owner. This is in an extreme case. Normally, we would just do right here. Actually, we could just do it at the top. AI.insert anti-lag. Unfortunately, I forgot to do that in the script, which is why you saw that lag. So it's actually good that I didn't add that yet. But when you add AI insert anti-lag, you're going to notice that it's just going to run 10 times smoother. It's literally 10 times smoother. So, yeah. Also, it does have predicted move too, so if you see the node going behind it and you need to customize that, it is config.direct move to. Right. That's just a small demonstration of forbidden. Direct, is it predictive distance? God, I have to go find my own code. Prediction magnitude is tracking only, that's correct. Okay, so another thing you're gonna have to know, some things are only tracking only. So if you need to offset the point from the target, that is target only, or tracking only. So for example, let's go to the TCP code, and I'm going to say config.tracking.clear target position offset free. What this is going to do now, it will try to wait 3 studs away from me at all times. Unfortunately, it's not doing that right now because it's also predicting I'm going to be here. However, you can tweak that to the distance that you need. So let's say, did I not change it? Oh no, I changed it here. Let's say that I know that free was not going to free. I can just change it to 5 now. You can see it's pretty much free studs away. Those are some of the basic settings with Forbidden, the ones that you're always going to use probably. If you have more questions, join the Discord and ask me. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.